Episode 1 of The Law According to Lidia. Poet Season 2 begins in Turin. Looks like Lidia never went to USA. Instead, she is imprisoned for pushing for voting rights for Italian women. However, she is freed when a friend is murdered. Detective Forno brings Lidia and Jacopo to identify the body of Attila Bruzzafero, the Gazette's chief editor. And the reason, Attila has written 2 letters to them to help them reconcile. The cops think the letters are a clue to his murder. But their prime suspect is Attila's half-brother. Cesare, as a neighbor's tip, claims that the brothers often fought with each other. We see that Lidia and Jacopo have a strained relationship which is at odds with their sweet parting in the Season 1 finale. When Jacopo offers to help solve the case, she refuses. As she leaves, someone watches her. She heads home and we get a partial reason for her rift with Jacopo. He has sold the villa, which has forced Teresa, Enrico, Mariana, and Lidia to shift to a small apartment on a busy street. They cannot afford to pay the workers, and Enrico is humiliated that they have to rely on Jacopo's money. As for Lidia, she has befriended Anna, a senator's wife, and is part of a group that has been protesting for women's rights, while the misogynist Cavalier Antonio Juvara stands for elections. Lidia skips the latest protest and joins hands with Enrico to look into Attila's case. They visit Cesare, who has been arrested thanks to a bruise that he has been sporting. But he shares that Attila hit him while they were fighting over the fact that Cesare is friends with Cosimo Balbiani, an anti-Semitic shipping empire's heir. And well, Attila is Jewish, which makes the poets wonder if Cosimo killed him. They head to Attila's place and are walked through the reconstruction, no forced entry. His bookcase where he hides his money is disturbed, and a damp umbrella. Forno suggests that Attila found Cesare stealing. A fight ensued and Attila fell out of the window. The cop suddenly feels dizzy but waves it off. Back home, Mariana is intrigued by Lidia's protests while Teresa finds it preposterous. Lidia points out that if she had power, no male family member could sell her assets without her permission, a dig at Teresa's brother, Jacopo, for selling the barbarous family house without consulting her. They are interrupted by a Duke Paolo who is wooing Mariana. He invites the poets to a ball and even hints at marriage. This is the first that Enrico has heard of it, and he is in shock. Once he gets his head back in the game, a little research reveals that Attila had insulted Cosimo in his own home in trying to keep him away from Cesare. Oh, and Cosimo is prone to violence as he has destroyed a Jewish-owned bakery. Enrico and Lidia visit his place, a yacht, and question him about Attila. Lidia pretends to be seasick and snoops around the place till she finds a bloody shirt. Cosimo catches her and kicks her out. Undeterred, she heads to the Gazette where she finds Jacopo already questioning a colleague, Carlo. But he is on a different tangent as he is looking into Attila's last subject, Juvara. The former couple bickers as Jacopo believes Juvara is the murderer while Lidia insists that it is Cosimo. However, he ends up accompanying her to the yacht where they find Cosimo beating someone up. Lidia locks the door, burns a firecracker which alerts the cops, and jumps into the river with Jacopo. High on adrenaline, they almost kiss. But a flashback shows them fighting. Jacopo sells the house to start his own newspaper so that he can have the freedom to write. Lidia is upset as he doesn't understand her fight for her freedom. At present, he leaves. The yacht excursion is futile as Cosimo has an alibi. The same victim reveals that Cosimo was busy kidnapping him on the day of Attila's murder. However, the cops have a new lead. They have started using the fingerprint method, and the print on the umbrella shows that the culprit has a scar. As the poets head home, Enrico is upset as he believes Lidia went on Cosimo's yacht alone. He wants to help, and it is a sweet moment as Lidia finds him endearing. She recalls how he sprained his ankle while trying to clear Jacopo's name, and they laugh. Back home, Enrico spies on Paolo while Anna arrives with her husband, Filippo. He is impressed by Lidia's bill but shares that they have to compromise and be patient. There is also another problem. Juvara is running for the election alone as there is no one in opposition. Onto the case, with no other lead, Lidia is forced to visit Jacopo. She notices that he only has 2 employees, and he shares that he has kept a portion of the money for Mariana. He wonders if Attila's letters for them truly were just meant for their reconciliation. Lidia deflects and goes through the rest of Attila's letters that Carlo has brought for them. She spots Carlo's letter and notices that the S is the same as in the neighbor's tip. Luckily, Jacopo had offered him a drink and Lidia finds his fingerprint on the glass. Carlo has the same scar. Lidia and Jacopo confront Carlo, who lets it slip that he never wanted to kill Attila. He hints that there is someone behind it and they will kill everyone if they don't let it go. Frantic, Carlo kills himself, much to everyone's shock. The cops free Cesare but have given up on finding Carlo's motive for killing Attila. However, Lidia refuses to give up. Jacopo too welcomes Cesare into his home and promises to find out the reason. When the poet leaves, Detective Forno feels dizzy again and we see that he is a drug addict. Outside, Enrico spots Jacopo and knows Lidia worked with him. He orders Jacopo to stay away from her and storms off. At home, Lidia confesses that something was going on between her and Jacopo. In a flashback, Jacopo proposes, but Lidia refuses as she needs to focus on her protests. Jacopo assures her that she can continue fighting by his side. However, she needs to feel free and not lose sight of her goals. At present, Enrico bitterly wonders if Jacopo sold the villa because of her. Lidia claims he had the power and was in pain. The newspaper just gave him purpose. Back to the root of her problem, Lidia compromises on her bill. She tells Filippo that she is now focusing on equal access to professions. At the end of the law, according to Lidia Poet Season 2 Episode 1, she writes to Andrea. Someone follows her and takes out his gun as Lidia looks in his direction. The law, according to Lidia Poet Season 2 Episode 1, kicks off the new season with the same charm and high-stakes suspense as the poets and Jacopo are thrust into a new mystery. This time, the plot is even more ambitious and on a grander scale than the Season 1 anarchists. We wonder if Season 2 will continue with the episodic nature of the previous season, as the case of Attila's murder and Lidia's protests are tied to a much larger conspiracy. And this time, we have multiple players, from the drug addict of a cop and Juvara to Anna and her husband. But what makes this Netflix crime thriller so fun are the character interactions. Having established them in Season 1, the new season goes all out with the bickering and the wholesome moments, the tension and the angst. While Lidia and Enrico's banter is endearing, the chemistry between her and Jacopo is explosive with the added layer of their rift. We'll now have to wait and see if Andrea is going to cause problems too, or if that is just a red herring to introduce the mysterious gunman.